Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast. My name is Gordon Duncan, and this podcast is part of the Capitalize Your Best Network. We are part of four shows. Monday, we have the This Is Gonna Hurt show, which is about in making a better you, focusing on just personal betterment. And Tuesday is Coach Training Partners, which is about training coaches and enabling them to grow their revenue. Wednesday is the Capitalize Your Best podcast, which focuses on business and marketing growth. And then on Friday, we have the You're Entitled to Your Opinion podcast, which is just a fun genre-based show where we're talking about movies, books, podcasts, those kind of things. But friends, welcome. I'm doing something I've never done. I ran the Williamsburg Marathon this morning, and I've never recorded a marathon recap like day of. Usually I get home and I pass out and I do it the next day. But just the way it works out, here it is. And so some of these thoughts I've not had at all. These are very freshly formed thoughts. But as always, friends, just thanks for listening and being here, liking, subscribing, and all the things you do. So today I ran the Williamsburg Marathon. Couple of things. I only signed up for this marathon 2 days ago. I have been training for a marathon, just didn't know which one I was going to run. This was my very first overall marathon win. I have done that a couple of times in some unofficial marathons, but this is the first official marathon time, the whole deal, where I came in first. It was a very difficult course, nearly 1,500 feet of elevation. By way of comparison, Richmond is like 700 or 800, Boston's like 700 or 800, 1,500 is a ton. I'm very beaten up. So let me tell you about how we got here. I started training 15 weeks ago. And in that 15-week training cycle, I was coming off an Achilles injury. So this marathon was not going to be about starting with heavy mileage. And I was alternating more weightlifting and resistance bands work and that kind of thing. So just trying to get the Achilles back strong because I was barely able to run on it. So as a result, over the course of the 15 weeks of training, I ran about 18% less. I did the numbers than last year's training cycle this time. Usually what I'll do is I'll have like 4 straight weeks of 200 plus mileage. Well, this cycle I had one at 220 and the rest were all in the 170s. So much less mileage comparatively, more weight room. And I would say that was really more the beginning and the middle. I faded on the weight activity towards the end. And I think that hurt me a little bit. But a different training cycle. I had originally planned on running the Emerald Isle Marathon, which was last weekend, which is very flat. And that was the place of my very first Boston qualifier. And I was thinking, hey, perfect. I can't run Richmond this year just because of complications with Emma's marching band scheduled and Richmond sold out. That's what I typically do this time of year. So I was scrambling and I decided on Emerald Isle. Well, as we got closer, we discovered that the Emerald Isle weekend was also Emma's fall break, and she was going to be home, that kid. So I didn't want to be gone all day, like maybe even leave Friday night and come back Saturday. I didn't want to miss that much time with Emma while she's home with me and Amy. So I'm scrambling. I can't run Richmond, can't run Emerald Isle. What am I going to do? And you just go to marathons in my state or Marathon USA or whatever the case may be. And I found that this weekend, the Williamsburg Marathon was there. Now, this was not a run through historic Williamsburg. It was a park race. Now, park races are typically down and backs, and you might do 4 down and backs or 6 down and back. This was 8 down and backs. So you go down and back 8 different times for the marathon. And I was under the impression, looking at the elevation, that it was not that what they had listed was not much at all. In fact, I was thinking I was preparing for a very flat race. Guys, next to the Charlottesville Marathon, I don't think I've run anything that's ever 14, 15. I don't think I've ever have. It's the most most elevation I've ever tackled. But and last night's Halloween, and I promised Amy I was going to hang out with friends and have a normal, like, fun Halloween experience. I wasn't going to go home at 7 p.m., that kind of thing. So just a lot of things that I had to prepare for, right? Got up in my normal 4:15, got ready. It's an hour and 30-minute drive. Got down there, pitch black, very cold. Good starting temperature, by the way, like a 41, 42, worked its way up to a 60, but not a hot 60. And it was a small field. It's not a very big field at all. I had no idea what to make of this. I've never run the course. I've never worked with this road running team before, never run with these people. It's great. I love running new experiences. It makes me a better runner. I met a guy straight on. His name is Jeff, and he's running his first marathon in Richmond, and the government shutdown was giving him more time to train. So I was excited for him. And so he was going to run the half, and I was running the full, and everybody started at the same time, which is crazy. 5K, 10K, 15K, half marathon, marathon, everybody at the same time. So my strategy here is always to qualify for Boston. And by the way, I did not qualify for Boston today. I won the race. There are other wins other than qualifying Boston. I did not come close to qualifying for Boston today. So usually when for me to qualify Boston, I need to be at an 8-minute pace throughout the whole marathon for a 3:29 overall pace, a 3:29 overall race. And within the first 3 miles, a couple things I had to overcome. I had some lower leg pain, which could just be warming up. It seemed a little odd, and then I realized in the first down and back, this race is insanely hilly. You run down to a little gully, you run up, you run down, you run up, and then you come do it all over again. And there's a couple of those things that are just really, really steep. Excuse me. Excuse me. I would typically edit that out, but not today. I'm too tired. And so really within 3 miles, I thought this is going to be tough to qualify for Boston. But I started slower than normal. I didn't speed. And by the 3rd mile, as I'm trying, I wanted to get to around 8:15 in the first 3 miles. And, somewhere by the half, you want to be close to where you want to be at 8, and then settle in and hold, maybe gain something at the end. And I wasn't holding anything. I had not prepared for hills. This is on me. I had not trained hills because I thought I was running Emerald Isle. So Emerald Isle's flat. I should always train hills because hills just make you a better runner, but I didn't this time, and that's on me. So here I am at this crazy hilly course, and I don't have, racing hill legs for heels, that kind of thing. So hills. And another thing is while you're racing down and back, it's really hard to keep up with who you're racing against. I mean, because I don't know who's running the half and who's running the full. They had everybody with the same bibs. So I had 1, 2, 3, 5 races running with the same bibs, and I'm seeing there's people ahead of me. There's some greyhounds out there running the half, but I'm thinking, are they in the full as well? And again, it's crowded, and you're down and back, and you just really have no idea. I was thinking that, like, overall, like, out of everybody, I might be like 7th, 8th. One time I was like 11th, I thought, and I was like, okay, this is confusing. And I was like, I will begin to know what this is going to look like at my halfway point. When I've met the halfway point, all the half marathon finishers ahead of me will be done. They will not be going out. So anybody that I see at the turnaround point is still in the marathon. And it's funny, about 6 miles in, I called Amy because I kept getting phone calls, and I couldn't tell if who it was. And I can call someone from the road sometimes, and it got through. And I was like, "Hey, nothing wrong. Are you okay?" She goes, "I'm fine." And I was like, "Okay, I'm getting all these phone calls. Just want to make sure it wasn't you." So doing that, and then as we make the halfway turn, I look up, and I think I'm in first place of the marathon. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm in first place of the marathon. And I'm kind of stunned because this is I'm not running my normal fast pace, or fast for me. I'm running a slower pace. And in fact, I'm wondering if I'm not going to break 3:30. I'm wondering if I'm going to break 4 hours. That's a long day, by the way. But I think, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm in first place in this marathon. So then the question becomes, okay, who is behind me? Like, who? I mean, if I'm not running for Boston, I'm running to win. I'm racing, and I need to know who's behind me. And again, you can't tell who is finishing the half or who is racing the full. I was like, well, my goal is if I see anybody in front of me, I got to pass them, and then I got to keep track of where everybody is, because I'm thinking this is going to be my first real marathon win. So I decide, okay, if it's 8 down and backs, by the 6 down and back, all the half marathon people should be gone, and I should know what my competition is. And sure enough, then I was like, I know, I can see who is coming up on me. I can see who's there. And By the seventh down and back, I felt secure. I mean, it's not like I was going to take it easy, but I was like, I feel like I've got enough lead on everybody. Really hurting. I mean, I never had cramping, never bonked, kept everything under 10-minute miles, which is slow. But again, we're going through crazy hills, 1,500 feet of elevation. Crossed the finish line. High fives for the organizers. It's not a big, like, I didn't get to cut the ribbon or something like that. They gave me a medal and took photos, and I ran a couple, just quarter mile, just kind of shake things out. And I got in the car, took my shoes off, and I thought, this is my first official timed marathon win. This is marathon number 30. 3-0. Wasn't a Boston qualifier, which is probably what I always want. If you'd asked me which one I had to choose, that's a tough question. I probably would choose Boston, but you know what? Sitting at home and sore, I'm pretty glad I went for the win. And ironically, around mile 5 or 6, I was really having some stomach issue. What's called gurgle gut, when you can feel like your stomach juices bouncing around. And at one point in time, I was like, I'm gonna have to run to the restroom. Am I gonna be able to finish this thing? And I'm really glad and at that point in time, I didn't know like my status, like where I was in the race. Really glad quitting and then finding out later on I could have won the thing would have just crushed me. And so takeaways are, I faded in my training in the last month. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had my 420s and I had my 3.5 hour run and things like that. But I really think before the 2-week taper, I really think I could have put on some more mileage. I really do. I think I could have had a higher mileage last month, and I think that hurt me. I think running in the heat helped. I think the weight training helped. Like I said, I never cramped at all. It's just a lot of lower leg pain. I got to figure out what's going on with that. But I can see some discipline issues that I've got to improve. Don't know what my next race is. No idea. The only thing I know I'd run next would be the Marine Corps half, which is like May. So I really do not know what I'm running next. I've got to recover, and then I've got to figure out what's going on with my discipline issues. I'm celebrating, tonight. I'm too exhausted to do anything, and Amy is as well, and she's working. So we'll celebrate somehow tomorrow, but keep it low key. And the big thing is, you know what? Today's November 1st, which is the launch of Epilepsy Awareness Month. And I wore purple, which is the color of epilepsy awareness, and I'll celebrate all month that I'm doing as well as I can. I'm going to try to educate. So on my personal pages and business pages, look for daily epilepsy awareness posts every single day in November, and they're going to start tomorrow. Today's win is going to be the first one. So I have a lot more to do. Sometimes I do a 2-part on these, and I probably will do a second one on this, but this is just sort of my hot take after finishing the Williamsburg Marathon and my first overall win for a marathon. So very thankful. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Grab Coach Training Partners on Tuesday, Capitalize Your Best Wednesday, You're Entitled Friday. It is a lot of fun shows. They're not all just me. And I look forward to talking to you again next week. Thanks, friends. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.